Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today we're going to be doing a couple different things. It is the end of January, last day of January, and it is about 60 degrees out. So we haven't had a whole lot of a winter, but we are about to get a ton of snow, or it's either we're going to get like 12 inches or we're going to get nothing. So there's really no in between, and so we'll see what happens. We will definitely have an updated video on that later. Sometime this week it's going to happen the next couple of days, and so we are getting a couple things done while we have nice weather. We're going to do a little bit of feeding, but what we're also going to do today is moving one of these 10 frames into a nuke box, because one of the reasons we do this, or actually, you know what, before I get into that, I got a new suit. So in my last video, I think it was my last video from Hive Life, or a couple videos, I don't remember when it was, I did interview Terry with Guardian Bee Apparel, and so if you want to check that video out, I'll leave the link right here. And they're really nice suits. I like them a lot. I'm still getting used to it. This is my first time putting it on with the veil and everything. But so far, I think it's pretty good. And so I'll tell you what I think of it in a couple videos, something like that. But yeah, so this is my new suit. But anyways, back to the video. So some of the reasons we move them down to a smaller box is it can be kind of hard for them to maintain the whole all this space here when they don't have enough bees for that. So like these outer frames are going to really have no bees on it, and so that gives space for like mice and other things to live there. And so we're going to take that out so they can kind of protect it a little bit easier, and it also helps a little bit with the cold because they don't have to warm up such a big space and they have just that smaller space. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's go ahead and get started. I have my smoker here, and let's just go ahead and open them up and see what they look like. We've got a couple of fondants that we're going to do, and probably at the end of this video. But let's see, actually I'm going to put this over here. And then I'm going to set this on top of here. I'm just going to open them up first and see what they look like. This is just an empty nuke box. How we do this is, I mean, there's definitely a lot of different videos out there on how you can do this. It's just what we're doing. But you just kind of move the frames over into here. They do have a little bit of brood. We'll see if we can find her. I checked yesterday and decided that they needed to be moved into a nuke box. So they're not broodless right now, actually. We'll definitely be checking some of the frames though, so we'll see what's going on. Yesterday I just did a little bit of a check. We were feeding a little bit too. Feeding more of these fondant patties, which like I said I was going to talk a little bit more about later, but a lot more people have been starting to talk about them on YouTube. They're not new, but they're definitely starting to get a little bit more popular. I have a few videos on them already, which I've talked about in my last few videos. Mike Berry just posted a video on them, and it's a really good video, so you should definitely check that out. I think I can leave that video right here if you want to check it out. Mike Berry's a really cool guy. I got to meet him at the Hive Life conference. Let's just go ahead and open this up and see what these frames look like. I haven't really gotten into the hives a whole lot. I think this is one of the, wow, look at that, first frame. First few hive inspections of the year. Right here, bees are not super happy. But there's the queen. Don't know if you can see, but there's definitely a lot of beetles on here. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and put her right into the box, so then I don't even have to worry about it. Putting her right in the middle. I don't talk a whole lot about beetles because we don't have a big problem with them, and that's pretty much the most I've seen in a while, actually. I don't know, I can't tell you a whole lot about the beetles and beetles and what they do and some of the treatments that you can use, because there's really not much you can use out there. I know there's like beetle blasters, Cayman has used those, I think that's what they are, stuff like that, but we don't have a big problem with those. So anyways, I'm just kind of moving everything over, but when I first opened it up, there was kind of like a small cluster, but these frames really aren't very full at all. So like these outer frames have nothing, no bees on it or anything. So like this has a little bit of honey at the top, so I'm definitely gonna give them that. So let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and put this frame on the end here. I think this is gonna be the last frame that I put in. Really not a whole lot on here. A little bit of honey up in here. So actually for the brood, there was a little bit, like tiny spot of brood where the queen was, but not a whole lot. I'm gonna say that's good. I'm just gonna give them the 4 frames. And then for these extra bees, I'll just shake them out. I know in one of my videos, someone asked if there was, because I didn't shake the box, if there was any bees at the bottom. And yes, there normally is. I'm just not good at shaking bees out. And so I make my dad do it. But there's not very many bees on this one. You know, actually, I'm going to put this frame in. This has quite a bit of pollen and stuff in it, so let's put that in here. So then that fills it up completely and won't be able to add any more frames. All right, there we go. And then just a couple bees on these frames. All right, so let's go ahead and we need to move this over because that's typically what I do first, actually. I kind of mess it up a little bit. Put the nuke box here first. Set this aside so that they go into the nuke box, but they're just going into this box and there's nothing there. So let's take this off. There's a couple dead bees at the bottom, but that's normal. Oh, there goes the entrance reducer. And then just put the nuke box right here. There we go. And then, is that entrance open? Yeah, okay. Learned that the hard way one time. You gotta make sure, sometimes there's yeah, like these can be twisted to the wrong side to where there's no entrance for them to get in or out of. So I wanna make sure that's open. And then last thing is just the lid. So we'll come back and give them a fondant patty because I don't have any that are not about to be used because I'm gonna use this one. But I'll come back to them to feed them. And so just need to clean this up in a little bit. But let's go ahead and move on to these fondant patties. So like I said, I kind of talked a little bit about them already and what I was gonna say. Really not a whole lot for me to mention at this point, just because we've already made like 3, this might be the 4th video on them. But we really like them and we enjoy using them. So if you get the chance to try them, I know a couple people got them at Hive, I think. This one's not open, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this one up. So because I've already made quite a bit of videos on it, there's just more and more questions keep popping up about it. So, and I just continue answering them in videos. But one of the questions that I was asked was, because it warms up. I mentioned how these double nukes, which I'll show you in a little bit, they kind of sit high a little bit so that the inner cover kind of is above and isn't laying flat down. So one of the concerns I had is that the queen would get over and they would kill the other queen. Just stuff like that. I have a video on it if you want to go check it out. So anyways, but basically they warm it up to where it kind of sinks down a little bit and it gets flatter, so you don't have to worry about that. But then somebody asked me if it kind of starts to like drip down the frames, and it's actually more of a thick consistency, so it doesn't do that. It does like a tiny bit, but nothing concerning, and the bees just clean it up anyways. But no, it does not drip down. So there's that answer to that question. That's just what we've experienced. I don't know if you'll experience anything differently. If it gets too hot, it might, but it doesn't, like right now, it's not very hot for us. I mean, in the hives, it's nice and warm, but anyways, we haven't had any troubles with that. I'm gonna go ahead and put a fondant on this one. This looks like a nice cluster here. Just give them a little bit of smoke here in the middle, just so I don't smush them too much with the patty. They never really want to move, so just kind of tap it down and they'll move. There we go. And then for the lid, actually, I'm not sure this will go on. I did. Okay, we're good. So let's go ahead and move on down here. So we're gonna do these double nukes here. These aren't open either, so let's just open these up really quick. So I just kind of cut them where the sticker here is with my hive tool. You can use like a knife or something, but this is all I have right now. So for these nukes, I just do 4, so I cut it one way and then the other way, and so that can go a long ways. There's 2 double nukes up there that we're going to use this for also. If you have any more questions about these, make sure to leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as many as I can. Wintertime, it's definitely harder to find content to give you guys, and that's good because not a whole lot going on in the bee yard. We never really stopped working bees. I mean, we've kind of been working bees all year long because it just hasn't gotten super cold. We had a little bit of snow right before January. So that's really been it though, but like I had mentioned, we might get some snow here soon. Let's go ahead and pop these hives open and see what they look like. We just went around yesterday and we were lifting some of the hives, just seeing how they feel and if they're very heavy, and if they are, then we'll just kind of move on, but if they aren't, we were going ahead and giving them some feed. So these already have some patties on them, but we're gonna go ahead and give them more. So there's just a little bit left here. So you can kind of see the bees down here eating it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off now. You could just leave it on until it's completely gone, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it off just because it's about to get really cold and we wanna make sure that they have some food. So that'll make them happy for sure. Smoke them a little bit. And then just lay this down. Actually, I'm gonna move it this way. I'm not going ahead and checking them just because we're losing daylight right now and wanted to get this in and then also film a video. But they had a pretty good cluster there, so that's good to see. And then we'll move on to this one. We had a hive over there that actually ate all of the fondant, so this one is super close to being completely finished. There's just a tiny bit here that they're eating still. So take this one off. But most of the hives have been going through this, so that's good. And then just put the inner cover back on. So you can use a feeder shim if you want to. A lot of people told me that I should, and we do on a couple of our colonies. Like some of the hives over there the lids are just kind of different, so we'll use a feeder shim, but we found that you don't have to. Some of our hives have these lids here that they have kind of like a built-in feeder shim, so they sit a little bit higher, so you don't have to worry about it on those. We have some hives over there, another double nukes, that we're going to go ahead and give them some of this fondant, and that's pretty much all we're going to do today. I'll update you on how the bees are doing in a couple weeks or a couple days, just to see if we really did get a bunch of snow. I personally like snow, so I'll be excited to see that, but then also it's not super great for the bees. But we've lost a couple colonies, but that's normal just to the cold and stuff like that. Some of the colonies that we expected to lose too, but most of them are doing really well. So it's normal to lose some hives in the wintertime, so But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Follow along for more bee adventures and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.